Welcome to Whispers of Resilience, our MS Stories podcast, where Justine Martin, the Queen of Resilience, sits down with each incredible author featured in this highly anticipated anthology. In this captivating series, we delve into the depths of each author's chapter, exploring the hows and whys behind their desire to share their experiences with multiple sclerosis. Prepare to be inspired as these courageous souls recount their triumphs, their challenges, and the resilience that fuels their spirits.
Welcome back, everyone, to Whispers of Resilience, our MS Stories. Today I've got with me the very, very excited Nina. How are you going, Nina?
I'm good, Justine. How are you?
Yeah, good. Now, Nina's got a bit of a chest infection because that's what happens when we have MS, doesn't it, Nina?
Being on the immune suppressant medication, yes, doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. So, thank you for being here despite the adversity that you are facing at the moment.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Nina, why did you want to contribute? Why did you want to write your chapter?
I think nothing, because when I saw your proposal for the book, I thought that nothing has been done like this before, as far as I'm aware. And wherever I look, if you look for information or real life stories from people with MS, it's often always heavily sanitized.
Yep.
And I just thought that with you, I knew that it would be a no bullshit approach. I thought it would be authentic and it would be actual people's voices of the struggles that they have faced. So how could I not want to be a part of that?
Yeah, and that's what the book all is. Like, everyone's chapter is raw, they're authentic. There's no cotton wool around any of this. It is confronting. A lot of the book is a lot of the chapters can be confronting when reading them. I know because I've read them all about 4 or 5 times, everyone's chapters, as they've come in and progressed through the stages of writing. But wow, it's impactful. It's a game changer. I'm very proud of everyone's effort of what they've put in, and kudos to everyone who have told things about their lives that it's the first time a lot of this has been aired in public.
I would agree. Yes.
It's huge. Absolutely huge. Nina, was there something, because your chapter is so beautifully written, yours was one of the first to come in and you just blew me away with how well it was written.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there something that, now in reflection, that you'd wished that you'd included into it? Because we were all stuck on, those 3,000 words. You all were. Did you wish that you had more words, that you could have shared something else, or you've thought about it since and went, oh, I wish I'd included this or that?
No, I don't think so. I think it was exactly what I wanted to say. I just got into I struggled at the beginning to kind of figure out what I wanted to write.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, and then once I'd got into that sort of flow, I think it just turned out the way that it was meant to be. I didn't want to be too bogged down in detail about medications and side effects and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, for me, no, it was exactly what I wanted to say.
That's great. That's great. Are you looking forward to it launching?
I am. I actually want to come to a launch party somewhere and be a part of that, because I think, we're from all across Australia. We're in most states, correct?
Correct. The only state that we're not in Western Australia because they pulled out.
Yeah.
And Northern Territory, we haven't got anyone there. But every other state, so we've got Jane in Tasmania. I think Emma is in South Australia. There's quite a few up in Townsville. You're in Wollongong. There's a couple in Sydney, and there's quite a few in Victoria.
Yeah.
as
So
well.
I'm very much looking forward to the launch party.
Canberra, someone's in Canberra, so
Oh yes, yes.
yeah, so
So
yeah.
wherever it is, I'm getting on the road and I'm coming road trip.
So 14th of September, it is here
Excellent.
in Geelong, and
Fantastic.
we're having a big launch. This podcast will be in September, so it might sound a little bit strange for anyone that's listening at the moment when we're talking about in the future, but we're actually filming this in July, so we can get everyone's QR codes to put back in the book. So each chapter you have your own QR code back to the vlog, and this will be up on Justine Martin Corporation YouTube channel. So if you are listening to this as a podcast, you can pop on YouTube and have a look at what Nina looks like, and get immersed in the whole experience of both of us on here. And so each day for 26 days in September, one of these podcasts is dropping for each author who has taken the time to be interviewed. Nina, let's talk about the writing process and the group coming in. What did you gain from that group activity?
I think for me, it was nice to be a part of. It was nice to be not nice to be a part of the group as a whole and to see how everybody was affected by MS in very different ways.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a lot for people to be vulnerable enough to come in and write your chapter and be a part of the group. I was a bit limited in terms of how many sessions I could attend because of work. I wish I could have attended more, but I'd love to see this repeated again in the future.
I'm definitely doing it again next year.
Mm.
Yeah, most definitely, because I've already got people waiting to come in and do that book. And we're also doing now, because of this book, there's around about half a dozen of you that want to write their full memoir. So they're now coming into Morpheus's writing group as well, and that's 2 community sessions a month, as well as so 2 group sessions in the month, and then you get me for 4 half-hour one-on-one sessions throughout the month as well. And so we've had our first month of that, and it is going really, really well. So from this project, we've continued the group sessions through, and people are writing their memoirs, and it's just amazing to see them blooming with their writing and having a goal at the end. So that might be something you might want to consider as well, Nina, because your chapter is
I know
just
you've said that.
amazing.
I know you've said that, but I just don't think I've got anything to write for a memoir.
Oh, yes, you have. Oh, my gosh. Nina runs a video blog. And what's it called, Nina?
It's a really good life.
And yeah, you get up to some really cool shit on that. I love it.
I started that like back when I was working for MS as a support coordinator, and I just started doing little videos to show people the things that you could do with your NDIS plan, and then I kind of continued it on from there because that also built, a community, and the MS community has always been very supportive to me, particularly also. Like I attend the Wollongong MS peer support group.
Yep.
And we've been going, 8 years strong, I think.
Wow. That's awesome. And people are a little bit starstruck, aren't they, when they meet you?
Oh, I get that all the time, but I have no idea why.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, it is. Have you had anyone ask for your autograph yet?
I was at a NDIS. I was at an NDIS forum last week, and someone came up to me that they follow me on Insta and socials and all that, and they was like, "Oh my God, Nina, it's you!" And I was like, "I'm just sitting there, on my wheelchair, and I have no idea what exactly is so exciting."
And it's weird because, like, I've got a couple of fans, and they know more about me than I know about myself, and they
Yes,
remember more things about me than what I do about myself. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay, so it's a bit hard to get your head around.
yeah, because you got MS, your
Yeah,
memory's shot, so
yeah,
they can remember things. I just can't recall it.
yeah. But you wait till you sign your first autograph, and that'll come when you start selling the book. When people start buying the book and they want your autograph, or when you come to the book launch, you'll all be signing your chapters in the book. And
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's such a buzzy feeling. It's like, oh my God. And, and especially like I do a lot of markets with my children's book, and I'll say to them, "Oh, would you like me to sign it?" "Oh my God, yes. Can you address it to this person?" I'm like, "Yeah, but you're gonna have to spell that for me because I can't spell anymore. So can you spell out their name?" So it's such an amazing experience to be a part of. Who do you think this book has been written for? Who did you write your chapter for?
I wrote it for participants. Participants. My God, there's an NDIS word. Slamming. Sorry. Let's restart. I wrote that. I have spent too long working in NDIS land.
So Nina's just having a bit of a cough and a laugh in the background here, but
I
she wrote
wrote
it for
this.
participants, but she wrote it for other people as well.
I wrote this for people probably who've been recently diagnosed, newly diagnosed, and you probably would remember it, Justine, when you're in that early panic stage and you think life is over.
Yep.
And yes, I guess the life that you knew could quite possibly be over, but it's going to be different.
Yeah.
But
The future
part of
that
that
you
is
had
acceptance.
planned, the future that you had planned, now needs to modify.
That is the most articulate way of saying it. Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
So your
there's still good things to come.
Yeah, your future's not over. You're just going to modify and adapt
Yeah.
to what your body's actually now doing.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
learn to, like, you got to go through the grief. You got to go through all those stages of grief with it. Some do it fast, some do it slowly, and sometimes it'll come back. One of those
Yeah.
emotions will come back.
And I think every time you have a relapse or an exacerbation,
you go through
that
grief again.
the cycle starts again. Yes.
Right. Yep, because a little bit more may be taken away from you at that particular stage. And you have
Yep.
to, again, adapt and modify around what your body's doing. And I think when you can get your head in that space, and that doesn't happen fast,
No.
but when you can get your head in that space, it makes it easier to accept that it is part of your life.
Yeah.
So I think this book, there's only 3 of us that have actually read the whole book at this stage. That's myself, Susie, who works for me, and Karen, the editor.
Can you give me a sneak peek? No.
No. No. And we've done it that way. I did it that way. I didn't want you all reading each other's chapters because I didn't want you influenced by each other. And I definitely didn't want you saying, oh, well, their life has been this way and it's so much more interesting than mine. Why would anyone want to read my chapter? You're comparing each other because that's not what we should do with MS and that's not what we should do with our chapters.
Yeah.
So we're all linked by that common thread of having MS, but our lives are so different. There's similarities in there, and there was a consistent theme of the MS readathon throughout it, which was quite amazing to see. And their marketing campaign on raising awareness of MS has been amazing. And, MS, the MS Society, MS Limited, MS Plus, MS Australia, all pretty much the same organisation. And what they've done throughout the years for people as well was consistent in the chapters. But these chapters and this book is to raise awareness of what MS is, not just what MS. Everyone knows of MS, but people don't know what MS actually does on a daily basis. And this book, by reading everyone's individual chapters, will go through, and you'll live their life in those 3,000 words that everyone did. It was quite amazing. Like, you're all given a target of 2,500 to 3,000 words, and some of the chapters came in at 7,000. It's like, yeah, you're gonna have to reduce. So, I've read through the 7,000 words. It's like, yeah, you're gonna have to take 4,000 words out of that. And so the majority of the chapters are a little bit over 3,000 words, 3,300, 3,500, which was amazing to see that everyone had so much to actually say in their journey. This book is also going to be good for carers of people with MS, family, friends of people with MS, and people that just generally want to know about it. It'll also be really good for the medical profession.
Yes.
Really, really good for them, to the neurologists, the doctors, the nurses, to sit down and read this book and see what it's like to live daily for us. And there's some really, really, really raw conversations that people have had in there. And, sharing intimate things about themselves that no one else probably knows, or very, very few people know. So I commend all you authors for, being honest and open and real when you wrote your chapters in there. And we were chatting the other day, because I think you're about the 20th podcast that I've done in the last 10 days, Nina. And I was chatting to someone the other day, and I said, wouldn't this be amazing that this is a history book, that there becomes a time where there is a cure, no one actually has MS anymore, and people pick this off the shelf to find out what it was like to live with MS. So rather than a book that helps people now, in the future, this will be a book that will go down in history because no one has MS anymore.
We can only hope.
Oh, it'll happen. It will happen. Whether it's in our lifetime, we can hope. But definitely. So we're making history with this. And it's a project that I'm very proud of. And if you're out there listening and you'd like to purchase a copy of the book, then go to resiliencemindset.com.au, or it is available on all major platforms such as Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, all the big online book downloading platforms. It is available in paperback, Kindle, and as well we are getting it up there on Audible. We just haven't got a date yet for Audible. Got to sit in my wardrobe and record it all yet. For that, I'm like, where can I get a soundproof room? I know, my wardrobe. And I've actually recorded a few podcasts in my wardrobe when the house has been quite busy, and great acoustics in there. If you go onto Resilience Mindset and look up Zach Martin Taylor's interview and watch that on the vlog, you'll see that I'm sitting there amongst all my clothes. But it's a good room. So
you make it work one way or the other.
We do, and that's what we do as well in life, don't we, Nina?
Definitely, you have to.
Yeah, we make it work. Now, what's some advice that you would give to someone newly diagnosed?
I would tell them to get as much education as they possibly can about MS, but
Yep.
not to let it overwhelm them. I would say to start a disease modifying therapy as early as you can to prevent further deterioration,
Yep.
and to find a community of supportive people.
So find your own tribe.
Find your tribe.
Yeah, I think that's very important.
Because you can, it's awful to say it, but you can lose friends along the way because of the limitation the disease places on you. So you need to find people who will be there for you, and that's often people within the MS community itself.
Yeah. Grief rearranges your address book.
It
does.
Good way of putting it.
Because your mindset changes as well, and your priorities change, everything changes. We met through a support group.
We did?
10 years ago.
Oh my God. See, you've got a great memory.
I've got a good long-term memory. My short-term memory is shit.
Most of my memories must be really shit.
Don't ask me what I spoke about 5 minutes ago because I got no idea whatsoever. So,
what was the support group?
Supporting each other with MS in Australia.
Of course. There we go. Got it.
And I know that's my support group that I run online. And it was the first MS support group in Australia online. Because when I was diagnosed, there were no online support groups.
Yep.
There was some overseas, but I wanted to talk to a community here in Australia about disease-modifying therapy drugs because, my mum had MS, but she died a year after beta-ferron came on the market. So I never experienced what it was like with disease-modifying therapy. And I wanted information, and the guy that I was engaged to at the time, he would do the whole ostrich in the sand thing, and we weren't allowed to talk about it. It was like it didn't exist, and it was bloody tough. And I went from working full time to not working at all in a very short space of time. And the black dog, that black hole was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And my home had become my sanctuary, but was also becoming my jail at the same time. And I wanted to talk to someone. And so I started supporting each other with MS in Australia, and it just boomed. And I had strict rules for people who joined. They had to personally have MS, and they had to live in Australia. They couldn't live in any other country. And I did that because I wanted to know about our healthcare system, what was available in Australia for the disease-modifying therapy. And I wanted it to be a safe place for people with MS, that if they were having a bad time with their carer or a family, that they had somewhere to vent, that they had somewhere to offload and ask for advice in it. And that's how it came about from there. And we've had some really in-depth conversations within that group. Now there's quite a few groups that are out there, and there are groups for carers, and there's groups for international people with MS, which I belong to all of those as well, but I'm still quite protective of my little group. And I mean, we've got over 700 people in there now, but you also have to fill in questions before you join. And if you come into it and you've put in a request and you haven't filled in the questions, unfortunately, you can't join. I can't let you join. So if you are out there listening and thinking, oh, I would like to join that group, make sure you fill in the questions. And the questions are very simple on do you have MS? Do you care for someone with MS? Do you live in Australia? And do you want to be kept up to date with Resilience Mindsets newsletter? And so there's, those 4 simple questions. And I find that keeps the community where it's meant to be as well with that. So, yeah, Nina, that's how we met. And then I can't remember the year. I'm thinking it's around about 2015. You will probably remember this more than I will. And you came on a road trip.
I did. I was down there for
She's
a
thinking.
conference of some sort, probably
Yep.
NDIS related. And then I came out to Geelong. I was going to the MS Plus headquarters in Geelong.
Yeah. And we all met for, I think it was lunch.
We had lunch, yes.
Yeah.
We had lunch down
at the edge on the waterfront.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's
and
what
I got to meet quite a lot of your wonderful community at that time.
I think there was about 8 or 10 of us that came out to meet you. You'd only really just started doing your vlogs too, I think.
It seems like a long time ago yet.
It is a long time ago. How many years is that? You'll have to work it out. I can't count.
8. If it was 15, that's 8. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
A long time ago. A lot has happened in those 8 years for both of us.
Yeah.
And you'll have to buy the book and read the chapter to find out what's happened with us in the last 8 years. I mean, I've been to hell and back. You've been to hell and back. And our chapters do cover how we've adapted and modified around everything that has happened.
Yeah. And we'll continue to do so as time goes on.
That's right. That's right. Is there anything that you'd like to say that we haven't covered, Nina?
I just loved being a part of the process. I really did. And I think it's amazing that you've done this.
Thanks.
I think to have MS and to take on such a big project was an incredible feat. So
really? I didn't quite realise on just how big Ben-Hur was going to be, I can tell you.
Yeah, I did wonder when you took it on. I thought, has she really thought this one through?
And she's doing it again. She's going to do it again. I'm just not going to have all these extra things going on next time when I say that now when I do it. So
yeah, but I think it's just such a wonderful thing to have been a part of, and I hope it continues for many more. I wish that you could, if I could wish for something, I wish that you could set this up in every state and have face-to-face writing classes, and this become like a movement.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'm thinking on things. You know what my brain's like. You know what my brain's like. So,
well, whenever I see you, you're always on a plane going somewhere or doing something.
Let's not tell you I'm flying out in 2 days then. I'm going to Bali.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, you asked me how I was at the beginning of the day, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a bit stressed about the whole thing, and like typesetting it all up and that, because I fly out in 2 days' time for 12
Is this for a holiday?
The first 7 days, 8 days, are for a writing retreat.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be joining some amazing authors from around the world that are all meeting for a writing retreat in Bali. So there'll be lots of writing and lots of personal development and lots of insight and stuff like that I can then bring back into the writing groups that I'm actually running as well. So I'm so excited. I'm meeting a guy that sold 5 million copies of children's books.
Wow.
And that is one of my passions as well, is to write and illustrate children's books. As you know, I wrote Same But Different last year, all about inclusion and equality. So not just writing a book for kids to read, but writing a book that has a message in there as well. So I'm so excited about meeting him. I'm very nervous about going by myself. I found out yesterday, pardon me, I can't take my infusion with me. So my medication, I can't take to Bali. So 2 types of medication. I knew I couldn't take my CBD oil. That's a given. You can't take marijuana or cannabis into Bali. You don't want to do a Chappelle. Yeah, it is real.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that I couldn't take my weekly infusion in until yesterday with talking to one of the nurses. She goes, "Oh, no, you can't take that." And I'm like, "What do you mean I can't take it? What am I going to do?" I said, "Why can't I take it? You know, it's all got prescription and that on there." But the bulk of my infusion, so I'm on SCIG therapy, which is other people's antibodies. And it's very expensive, very, very expensive. And when I normally travel in Australia, I take the amount that I need for when I'm there, and I take a couple of extra weeks in case something goes wrong and I get stuck there, because this is not a medication that you can just go into a pharmacy and buy. And or get a prescription done in a pharmacy. It has to be distributed through the hospital. And so she goes, "No, you can't take it. They'll think that you're actually a dealer." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" She goes, "Because it's so expensive and the amount of quantity that you would be taking in, they will think that you are actually dealing it, that you're selling it." And I'm like, "You can't be serious on this. I need
Well,
this."
you
And
can't take a risk.
I can't take the risk. Well, I can't take the risk in taking it now in there.
That's what I mean, yeah.
What the hell am I going to do? So she said, "Well, you can do some double doses." So this week I did Monday as my normal dose. Then I did last night as another dose. And then I fly out on Saturday. I've got a writing group at 9 a.m. to 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. So I'll get up earlier on Saturday morning and from 8 to 9 do my infusion in my tummy and not in my legs, because I'm not doing it in my tummy because the seatbelt will then aggravate it, because I end up with big lumps the size of golf balls, 3 of them, in my body for around 2-3 days before it dissipates under the fat layer. It's the only good thing about having fat, is because it goes in that subcutaneous layer. And then I'll do one on the Thursday. I'm back on the late Wednesday night, and then the Thursday morning I'll do one then, and then 3 days later I'll do another one, and then I'll get back into my routine from that. But, you know, these are things that you don't realise, like when you are on drugs, when you are on medication, you just presume that you can just take it anywhere in the world, and you can't. You can't, and you got to factor.
You're limited. Yeah.
You are limited, yeah. And I'm off to Ireland at the end of the year for another writing retreat with a so-called royalty. Will be there. Can't mention any names, but you can work out who it is. And they write books. And I can't even take it into Ireland without it all being packaged up properly and all this rigmarole that's got to go with it. So when I come back from Bali, I then have to start the process on taking it. Now, the medication that I'm on can't go under the plane, can't go in checked luggage. I actually have to take it with me, and it's got to be kept at a controlled temperature. So if it goes under the plane, it gets very, very cold under the plane, and things can freeze under there. So it can't be frozen, and it can't go over 25 degrees. So if I got off somewhere in like Dubai with it, then it's a problem because it's really hot over there and it can heat up, and then it doesn't work anymore either. So there are a lot of, contributing factors that you've got to take into account when you're on medication.
And you're okay to go to Bali by yourself?
I'm meeting people over there that I know, and I've been to Bali with a support worker last year. So my anxiety gets really, really bad in airports, and because I can't follow numbers very well anymore and work things out like that, that's where the anxiety comes in. I think I will be okay on this trip. I am spending 5 days on holiday by myself, and I've booked into the hotel, into the Mercure. And I thought, well, you know what? I can just stay in the hotel. I don't have to go outside the hotel. They've got restaurants there, I can eat there, I can stay there. I don't need to go out shopping or anything like that, and just de-stress. So not overcomplicate the whole process either. With it, I've got really good travel insurance. I think that's a must when you're traveling overseas. In
Yeah.
in having good travel insurance and finding a travel insurance that will actually accommodate the MS. Not all travel insurance does, and you need to disclose absolutely everything that is wrong with you when traveling, because if you don't, it'll null and void your travel insurance. So it does cost more when you have disabilities and you're on medication and what's wrong, but you definitely need it. So my travel insurance is right. I've got family that if it was to go to shit over there, that they would jump on a plane and come over and rescue me as well.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky like that. And I'm going over. My riding coach is going to be there, so I do know someone that's there, and I've made friends with a few people that are going on Facebook. One woman is actually a little bit starstruck by me, which is she's meeting her hero, which I've got to get my head around being there as well. So it's on my bucket list. I'm like, stuff it. I'm going to do it. But yes, I am off on a plane again. I'm living the life that I have created and that I want.
Yes.
Around my disabilities as well. And I know that when I come back, I'm going to be tired just from the physical plane trip. And that will take a week for me to recover, as well as the time difference.
Yeah.
So it's only 2 hours. That's still enough with me and my fatigue to go, woo, hang on here. From it.
And you're not working on this while you're gone? You're going to have a break, a rest?
No, I've got to get the typesetting done. So I will be working on this at night, each night that I'm there. And I reckon that by the end of the 7 days, I will have pressed send and hit for it to be the proofs. The goal is to have it done by the end of next week, and to then get the proof copies back, and get 3-4 of those sent back. And then those of us that have been working on it here, they get a highlighter pen and the book, and to go through and see if there's any mistakes in it. And if there's any mistakes, then I can jump on. They get 48 hours to do that. So I want the book sitting here waiting for when I come back, and because I'm expecting it. And then we'll go through it a couple of days. They get 48 hours to go through it and see if there's any mistakes. And then I can jump on, fix any of the mistakes, and then I can send it all out to the authors who will get it before the release date.
Wow, good on you. I think you've done well to recover after the MS hit, that they wouldn't do the foreword. I thought that was you bounced back from that really quick.
Yeah, so I've written the foreword and the introduction in the book. I did ask Suze if she would do it, and she goes, "You know it better. This is your project. I think you should do it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. So, I have done that, and Karen has done an amazing job with the editing as well in all of this. And she has left. We haven't over edited the book, and so there is some grammar mistakes that are in there, because we wanted your voice to come through, everyone's voice to come through on the chapters, and that's what has happened. So there is
the launch, with the launches and things like that. Have MS said that they will support that in any way, or they're still not?
All the invitations have been sent, will be sent out, and those that come, and those that don't. I am being interviewed on their podcast, and they are putting it through their network, and that's fantastic that they're still raising awareness for it on that. So thank you, Nina, for your time and your energy and your sparkle that you have put into this project. Oh, we've just lost her. We're back. Thank you for your time, your sparkle that you've put into this project.
Thank you for having me, Justine. It was an absolute pleasure.
You're welcome. And I will get you to write your memoir one day. I reckon
one day.
It'll be a hoot. I reckon it'll be a hoot reading that whole book after reading your chapter. So remember, people, if you want to purchase a book, resilienceMindset.com.au. The details will be in the show notes with the link on how you can buy it, or you can just go on Amazon and search for Whispers of Resilience, our MS stories. So, Nina, one final word.
Life is still worth living, even with MS, and I'm excited to see what comes next for me.
Fantastic, and I'm excited to follow you on socials to see what comes next. You're always up to something too, girlfriend. So, and such a role model for those in the community as well. So,
Thank you very
everyone
much.
else, stay healthy until next time.
Are you ready to be inspired? Get ready for the book that will touch your heart and ignite your spirit. Whispers of Resilience, Personal Stories of Living with MS is now available for purchase. Have you ever wanted to peek into the lives of individuals who have triumphed over adversity? Look no further. This highly anticipated anthology brings together a group of exceptionally talented authors, all living with multiple sclerosis, who share their personal journeys with unyielding honesty and vulnerability. At www.resiliencemindset.com.au, you can now secure your copy of this remarkable book that captures the essence of resilience, hope, and the power of the human spirit. Dive into the stories that will captivate your imagination and open your heart to the triumphs and challenges faced by these courageous individuals. With each turn of the page, you'll witness the unbreakable spirit of these authors, as they navigate the unpredictable terrain of MS. Their words will inspire you, uplift you, and remind you of the incredible strength that lies within. Visit www.resiliencemindset.com.au now and embark on a transformative journey through the pages of Whispers of Resilience. Get your copy today.